It's 10 minutes past 10, and it's another day of human rights abuses and constitutional wrongdoings and spiritual violence in Tralee, County Kerry. There's been exacerbatory offences in the form of cybercrime occurring, and the issue of spiritual violence in the southwest of Ireland, and the issue of unauthorised incidents of developments is also another issue that contravenes the purpose and the dignity of the Declaration and the Constitution. So tonight, the matter of the treason and the issue of breaches in all shapes and form, the breach of confidentiality, the breach of protocol, the breach of privacy, all of these matters that I'm experiencing every day ad nauseum by individuals that have been defaming my good name, etc., and that have been imposing upon me, and that have been slandering my good name, basically, and disturbing the peace, antagonizing the situation, a very delicate situation, are all matters that I'm still contending with. Now, it's pretty late at night and I'm pretty tired. As I've mentioned, there's a condition or two that I'm treating, and I'm a bit tired. So the issue of medical negligence is also a problem, and doctors that have been disrespecting the Hippocratic Oath and that haven't been respecting the humanitarian endeavour I initiated in 2018 that had a huge worldwide impact, and that commenced in Tralee, County Kerry, with my purpose that was an objective for me for a very long time, to basically help in the recovery of people's lives, and there has been recovery. There has also been damage and harm and loss, but that's the other side of the coin, and there are individuals that are responsible for causing harms, damages and losses that haven't been behaving responsibly, they haven't been behaving respectfully, and they haven't been behaving consciously as evolved human beings. Now, as a sacred royal, there have been individuals that have imposed upon my spiritual identity. My spiritual identity is sacred, and it is protected by the practices that I have cultivated for very many years. The practices have been of the Light Workers Association throughout the world, and of the Fellowship of Recovery. The individuals that have been blaspheming in this community and that have been treasonous against my bloodline are not in good spiritual health, with the very dangerous breaches that they have been causing to my spiritual status, my spiritual identity, and my spiritual purpose. So I have cultivated for many years, and I have protected my spiritual status, and it has held me in good stead. And I have a very clean conscience. I have a very, very clean conscience. And I have lived by my spiritual principles and my practices. And I am still to this day experiencing spiritual violence. I'm still experiencing treason, and I'm still experiencing people that are slandering and that are laying claim to an identity that they are not welcome to. I have not welcomed people into my identity or my purpose that they have, in an artificial, superficial, imaginary perspective, laid claim to. These people have not just breached Hippocratic law, they have not just breached humanitarian law, they have not just been treasonous. They have disrespected my ancestry and my ancestral identity and the royal titles I hold. Royal titles aren't easily administered They're hard earned sometimes they're hard won, sometimes they're just automatic and they're a birthright. And in my case, it's a birthright. So there are individuals that have been out of remit. I'm being very selective and fixed with my vocabulary and language, as this is for the interest of the Worldwide Fellowship, and there are many nationalities that I'm reaching out to. This is a human rights issue in a small town that has been conducting very dangerous offences against not just this identity, but in other people's homes as well. And when people are intruding and imposing and trespassing and stepping over the line into people's homes and instilling their practices that contravene a family's faith, or a family's identity, or a family's safety, then that's an issue. And that has happened in this community, and I have helped reform that practice since 2018, when there was also the cause and initiative of hygiene and mental health brought to the fore, as a consequence of my humanitarian work in 2018, that other individuals have been laying creative and intellectual ownership of, which they don't have ownership of. They've also been as identity thieves with regard to the matters of medicine and science and spiritual evolution. That is all a part of the creative and intellectual theft that I'm tolerating in this charade. So the issue of hygiene and my abode being broken into, trespassed into, and matters of concern being raised with regard to the hygiene that I'm tolerating, the hygiene standards. It's quite repulsive what I've tolerated in this community, but this is what is hate crime. This is what hate crime is, I mean. And there has been the treason as well, and then there's the constitutional wrongdoings, the unlawful care order of my child, in 2017, and practitioners not actually recollecting the reality of the circumstances according to as they occurred, and that are relaying very serious falsehoods that are not helpful to the representation of their qualifications or their field of expertise. So there's a child that I gave birth to, Garrod, that's his name, Garrod Thaig McElligott. He was born on the 14th of the 10th, 2015. He's legally a missing person. I don't know where he is from day to day. I don't know what his, actions and movements and whereabouts are, and that's legally, technically a missing child. When a child is taken from a sane parent, and when that parent has been providing single-handedly for a child in perfect conditions, and when unidentified individuals intervene and withhold and violate a right to freedom, a sane mother being violated like that, and a child being traumatized, as my child was traumatized, which is common knowledge, that's all a very serious matter. So these are all the issues I'm contending with. And as a recovery advocate that represents sanity and sobriety since 2006, I have gradually worked towards 2018 for the past 16, 17 years. And there are individuals that are dirtying this situation with a story, plot and line that is completely imaginary. So I'm concerned about the sanity and sobriety level, and I'm concerned about the people that imposed upon my personal and private space in my marital home in Tubright Ardfert as of 2016, 2017, where there was also breaking and entering. There are individuals that are thinking of imposing divorce proceedings without my consent or participation or representation, or without any legalization in the matter. And these people are of blasphemy and treason as well. So I have to keep reiterating, I'm a mother of a child that's a missing person. I'm still a married mom. I have not consented to any individuals to represent me in any proceedings. It is not legal for individuals to correspond with me when they are in breach of royal protocol. There are individuals that are not respecting spiritual principles and practices that protect my spiritual identity and my spiritual purpose for many years. And these individuals have been in the past recent times just been really, really out of bounds. They've just been stepping over the line and they've been really rude. So I'm really concerned about individuals that are not grasping the severity of the circumstances that their irresponsibility has caused. So those that are disrespecting my ancestral lines, and that particularly there's a fascination with my lovely my O'Regan family. My O'Regan and my O'Higgins family and my O'Sullivan family are quite popular with these people that have been quite disrespectful to my human rights and my constitutional rights and to my child's upbringing as well since 2017. So those people that are fascinated with my O'Regan family, I would hope they'd have a little bit of a courtesy and common sense with the damage and disrespect and defamation they're conducting. So there's also my Fernan bloodline that's also quite special, that has also been disrespected in certain respects as well. So this matter is quite embarrassing. The initiative, the agenda, the campaign, the obstruction, the isolation, the withholding of information, the impoverishment, people monetizing from my purpose, causing damages to my qualifications and my achievements and to my bodily anatomy without my consent. These people that have been financially exploiting and gaining are they're out of bounds really, and they've been antagonizing a very delicate situation, and their slate isn't very clean. The changes that have come about as a consequence of my humanitarian work in 2018 in particular, I'm just tired of saying it, just changed the landscape of the situation and the circumstances, the societal circumstances. The offenders that have been defaming me for quite a while, that have been offensive to my good name for quite a while, basically it's delicate. It's a very delicate matter, but there are offenders that are still repeat offenders to this day. It's a very delicate situation what has happened, and that there has been no reform behaviour as I had been anticipating. There's still problems being caused as a consequence of these people and their liability, basically, with the problems that they've been causing. It's a very delicate situation. It's very delicate, but the problems that have been in existence for quite a while, and there are problems still being caused for me to this day. So the hygiene initiative, the mental health initiative, that has all come about as a consequence of my purpose, and there have been individuals of creative and intellectual theft, and my child is still missing, and there are practitioners still not practicing properly, and there are individuals of spiritual violence that are to this day still not working within the precepts and practices and principles that would be expected of any good practitioner in any spiritual field. These individuals have breached all codes of behaviour and morals and ethics, and this is a huge concern.